Hey everybody, it's Eric Johnson. Today I'm doing a video on Field Nation. Field Nation is an app you can get through Play Store or for Samsung and I don't know whatever Apple you go to do apps, to install apps, whatever Apple Store. But download the app. It's called Field Nation. It's a really, really cool app. It allows companies and technicians to connect, and that's pretty freaking cool in this day and age. Gig work is what they call it. I've been doing it for years and years and years. Interesting. And it's allowed me to pick and choose jobs in the area that I want, because these jobs will come through on your app when you set it up, and you'll see what's available, and you'll set up how many miles you're willing to travel or how many miles you want to include in the job search. You only want jobs that are listed within, I say 60 miles. Generally, I don't like to drive as far as 60 miles, but it depends on the job and it depends on the pay, right? And it's just such a great idea, and it's worldwide, I believe, now. The guy who set it up, I don't know, I want to say he's Indian. I forget. I'm not even sure I'm pretty sure it's American-based. Indian-American guy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the owner. I'll put a picture up of him. But anyway, it's a fantastic concept that he came up with. And so the reason I'm talking about it recently is to reintroduce the concept to people that are interested in using the app and giving some basic pointers about it, but also to highlight this issue I talked about in a very recent interview with myself, video that I did, where I talked about the fact that I went to do a job that had a fixed pay rate of $120 for an estimated 1.5 hours. Right off the bat, you can kind of see, it's kind of like saying, I need you to come over and to mow my lawn, and I'll give you $20. And then after you mow lawn, they say, and I need you to prune the bushes and do this and that, and you don't. That's a terrible example, because that's not, well, no, that is kind of what happened when you think about it. They kept me to do a lot of extra things because of various things that came up during the job. So my job that was supposed to be an hour and a half stretched to 4 hours. And during the work session, I asked the guy who I was working with remotely on the phone, I said, hey, we're over the time limit. And he's like, no worries, we're going to cover it. Basically, which is what I've always heard my whole time with using this app. I mean, if they're going to keep you on site, they're going to pay you, even though it said estimated. Technically, I guess you could say, well, we estimated 1.5, but it came out to 4, so that was just a bad estimate. But you're still stuck with it because we said fixed 120 pay. Anyway, long story short, because I talked about it in the previous video, I didn't get paid the extra money. I got $120, and it was approved that day, which is unusual. Sometimes these jobs, you complete them, and they'll sit in a queue for a few days until a manager or somebody gets around to reviewing the work, and then they okay them, and then you get paid. This one got paid, boom, that day. It got put in the pay folder, paid tab, and then that meant it took, they used to pay you on Friday, so I think it took the week after Friday to get the money. But of course I was unhappy because my issue was that I had to work almost 4 hours, and the important thing was the technician, who was totally on my side, if there was a side at this point, he was just like, well, of course we're going to pay you because you've had to stay here for 4 hours. They had software issues, remote software issues with the kiosk system. That stopped us for a while. They had another issue where we had to stop for a while. In fact, I talked to a different tech when I was kind of starting to make phone calls and say, I didn't get paid for all the work. And this one guy goes, oh, yeah, I remember that job. Yeah, that went really long. He said, I almost got involved, but then I realized we were having some issues with software and stuff, so I just realized the job, it wasn't really anything that he could do anything with, so he just kind of ignored it. Pretty good reason to pay people extra if they're forced to stay on site because other issues are going on with the work that you're doing that you have no control over. So I was pretty angry, and I made a lot of phone calls to their and I always got the text, and they all said the same thing: manager's not here. It was incredible. Manager's not here. I thought, man, this guy's got a great job. I mean, not at all, actually. I mean, that's the last thing you need is manager's never there. Should be the exact opposite. But anyway, it was just resolved. So this happened April 4th, and today is the 14th of May, and it got resolved like 2 days ago, where I got my extra pay. All of that time, it was in limbo, because at first the manager seemed to not understand the complaint I had put into Field Nation. Now I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to show you Field Nation. I'm going to go on and show you what happened, and then also give you a couple of pointers about the app itself for people that are interested in doing the work and making some money on the side. And you can get jobs that are weeks long. I mean, you just keep your eyes open. I've noticed lately there are a lot more jobs that are like a week long, or there'll be like 2 or 3 days of 6-hour days, and then they're over. Things need to be set up. I was just involved in a job where all I did was transport IT equipment from here to Bluffton, down near Hilton Head on the coast. That was quite a drive, but it was worth it. And it was an emergency. Yeah, it was a really desperate situation for the company, so I felt like helping them out, even though I generally don't go driving for hundreds of miles if I can avoid it. But it actually worked out to everyone's, and they did a really cool thing too. I'll talk about it a little later. But anyway, all right, so here's Field Nation. Now, right now, I'm obviously logged in, and someone wants a router replaced. Should take an hour and a half at $60 an hour. 4 requests are in for that. AV install, audio visual install, AV help, audio visual. 800. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that, 800. So what is this? Oh, you're going to be assisting a lead tech with performing AV systems installation integration. Tasks can include some of the, terminating cable and all that. Oh man, look at that, cut into drywall. Yeah, but then also look at the money. You're probably going to make around $800. So that's a nice chunk of change if you want to do that kind of work. I avoid having anything to do with terminating cable. I think they now have a machine that kind of does it for you. It's a handheld device that kind of separates. If you know about terminating cable, your cables, your LAN cables, they've got a lot of wires in them, color-coded wires, and you have to have the color-coded wires set up a certain way to fit to go into the connector on the end of the cable, and so that kind of stuff. And if you screw that up, then you have to go back, and it's not good. Look at this one. For $55, someone wants a Meraki router. It's already been configured. It's pre-configured, so that's actually now see, that's easy work. Because you have a pre-configured router, usually you just go in, you set it up on the network shelf. You may be replacing another router, so you just take the LAN cables and you put them in the proper ports, connect to the same ports, and that can take an hour and you're out of there for $55. Unfortunately, this is in Aiken, South Carolina, Aiken, South Carolina is a long way from me up here in Columbia. So yeah, I'm not going down there. No way. And really, I don't feel like doing any work at the moment. The work I do is usually a couple of few jobs a month, and for me that's sufficient. But like I said, you just saw that job for 800, and if you know how to do that kind of work, it can be a real boon to your wallet, and especially if you're between jobs or something. You can, I think I talked about in the first video I did on Field Nation a while ago. It's been a couple of years. I actually met a guy who did it for he was married. I mean, I've talked to him enough to understand. He's a married guy, he's a young guy, a real road warrior. He had the whole outfit, the jeans, the tools on his belt. I mean, all that kind of stuff. I just walk around with a little tool bag. But he was ready to go because he said he would do sometimes 2-3 jobs a day. He'd get up early. He'd line up those jobs. Boom, 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 traveling around, And, man, I don't know. If you do enough of these jobs, even the small jobs, you're going to start accumulating pretty good money. Better money than you might get, working in a cube somewhere doing IT work. Because some of these people pay pretty good money for the work to be done. These companies are sitting in Chicago. The last company I worked for was sitting in Colorado. Last company I worked for was in they were all over the place. They had an office here, actually. I went over to their office to get this equipment to move it. But anyway, enough about that. That's not important. Let me just show you some basics so you get an idea of what it's like. So we'll go to work. Okay, now I have put down coverage area plus 60. I'm going to actually type this in. Well, I guess I could put in this and apply it. It shouldn't change anything. No, it didn't change anything. I just thought that was funny that it was blank. Yeah, because see, it normally captures what you put down. All right, so I have jobs set up within 60 miles. Doesn't mean I have to take them. It just means I'm giving myself that I want to see what jobs are available for 60 miles. If I really need to work, I might put down what's available. Well, let's do it. Let's put down what's 100. Right here, radius. So let's say there's 100. Let's see what happens with 100 miles. Many more jobs. Wow, look at that. Holy moly. Where are these at? Oh, well, see, now we're Greenville, Somerville, Charlotte, Spartan. There's some fairly nice-sized cities around here. All these places like Moncks Corner are suburbs of Charleston. Charleston has a huge job market for this kind of work. A bunch more. You can just see. I mean, if you... Oh, that's funny. There's another company. I've had problems with 3 companies, and that's one of them right there. I'm not even sure I'm going to go through the effort of blurring stuff out. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth about what's happened. I don't think I'm hurting anyone terribly. They still try to send me jobs, even though I basically told them I don't want to work for them anymore. I didn't like what they did. That was another one where they shortchanged me. So, keeping in mind I've been doing this kind of work since 2015 or something, 14, I don't even remember. It's been a long time. I was so glad I found it, this app, because it's just wonderful to be your kind of own boss. You pick the jobs you want. I mean, you saw that amount of jobs. I could sit there for 15 minutes and figure out what jobs I want to do if I want to travel that far, which I don't. Here's something. So see this over here? This is telling me that job notifications have been put in. That's going to be the 3 that we saw. So what is that? Now here's a routed job. Now a routed job means you don't have to request it. You can just take it. And that's because I've been doing this so long. And I have a pretty good record. So they're comfortable with just routing the work to me. So instead of requesting it and then them balancing my request against other people's request, if they route it to you, you can just simply say accept. let's just look at it. So what is this? PB Core postage meters, lift assist, ability to lift 65 pounds. Must have passed the drug test, passed. IS business provider, this is provider type. This thing, I wouldn't even put it in here and they would give me the, well, they already have. They just routed it to me. So obviously, even though this qualification is missing, they don't care. And that's what you have to understand about this app. There is that kind of leniency. Okay, so this requires 65 pounds. Coordinate with on-site technician to aid in the breakdown of new equipment pallet. Individual piece of equipment will be transported via hand to a designated. Bring such transporting devices. You know, it's so funny. Oh my God, that's interesting. How much is this paying? 120. Yeah, I don't want to do it. It's basically saying you're going to move equipment for an IT environment, and you're going to, you know, computers, laptops, that kind of thing. You're going to take it to another environment. You're going to set it up in the area that they request, the technician requests, that you will not be asked to actually help set it up. I don't want to do that one. Where is this? And of course, Aiken's too far away, so I'm not doing it anyway. So right now we have. That's funny. Look at all those jobs. See, look at this. These, though, here are jobs for Concord, North Carolina. That's within 100 miles? Whatever. 35 hours. Start at 5:45 p.m. Yuck. I don't do any work after 2 o'clock if I can help it. I mean, if I do a job that starts before 2 and it ends up going after 2, that's fine. But anytime they say be here at 3 p.m., between traffic here at 3 and, which you would think it wouldn't be that big a deal, but just like a lot of cities, man, our interstate gets pretty crowded around here at 3, and I don't like being out if I can avoid it. And I just don't like working at that time of the day. That's when I want to sit down and watch the news and kind of unload a little bit, you know. That's a lot of jobs, man. Let's see, can I do distance? Yeah, so let's see what the closest one is. This will be interesting. Yeah, so, oh, I see. So there it is. So okay. Interesting. So the closest one is here in Columbia then. Let's set this back to 60. That's close enough, 62. Let's see if I pick up another one. Yep, I did. I had set for 60 and I had 3 jobs. Oh, I think 2 new ones just came in. Oh, yeah, someone adjusted a price, probably adjusted it up. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. Then you can go down here, view all notifications. And you can see them all, blah, 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 blah. You can mark them all as red. All right, and then this goes away. Quits bugging me. Quits bugging me. All right, here's another thing I want to tell you about. I know this is probably sounding a bit disjointed. Well, let's see what's that. Troubleshoot sites connection reconnect site. That's in Rock Hill. I'm not going to Rock Hill. That's 63. I set it for 62, and here's giving me a job 62 to 63. You know, screw this. Let's go down. These things are generally pretty good, but you know, they're a little, can I, oh good, yeah, I can use my keyboard to do that. Just set it at 60. There we go. Anyway, here's something else I think people would be interested to look at. And I know I'm kind of doing this in circles because we were talking about that particular job where I didn't get paid. We're going to come back to that. But here's types of work you can get. So even though this app is primarily an IT or a tech app for technicians, you can see that it spans IT or tech work. Here we have access and alarm work. I did not hit that. Really digital signage. I should get rid of this. You know why? Because I used to work on menu boards, but God, you go to a restaurant, you have to get up on when you go into the restaurant like a Hardee's, and they have a menu board up with the lid up. Some of them are quite sophisticated. They're digital. They're movies. They're videos. They show you different things, have prices and all that kind of stuff. But to get up there, it's lucky being tall. I can get up there and I can reach stuff other people might have a little bit of a problem with. On the other hand, you're still having to get up on a ladder. Sometimes you have to stand on a counter. You're working with those big ass menu boards. You're having to pry them off the wall on their kind of little levered hinges that don't give you much work, and you have to get up there. And again, with me, the issue is always being a little bit fat fingered, because and it's not just that. I mean, it's because some of the work in these environments, like a lot of IT work, they aren't really thinking about the technicians when they create these things. They're just trying to figure out how to get them in certain space and all, and they give them just enough to get their fingers in there and work on stuff. I'm going to get rid of digital signage. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Okay, so now this is what I've signed up for. Audio-visual, satellite TV. I don't know why that's checked. I'm going to work on anyone's satellite TV. Now I'm down to 17. God, I might be out of work by the time I get done with this. Here's camera work. Charging stations now. That's a new one. Makes sense. Fiber cabling. You notice I have not checked anything in that regard. ATM, kiosk, lockers. Locker work. Kiosk I really like kiosk work. I've never gotten ATM work, and I really should get rid of that too. Well, this is fun, folks. So let me eliminate all of the work I'm making myself available for while I do this video. Low voltage testing. The reason I have these checked is you can get, this is kind of a misnomer because I have gotten low voltage runs that did not require anything like that. They were more like things like checking the cables in a network rack, just to see the cables between the servers and the routers and all that are correct because they're having some sort of problem. So I still do that because sometimes that kind of work comes along. Office equipment, Mac device? I've never worked on a Mac device in my life. Boy, this is getting punier and punier. Fiber runs, kiosks, blah, blah, blah. Copy of Windows. Yeah, Windows. General tasks. Now, here's the thing I'm talking about. If you get general tasks, you may get something like, and some people may turn their nose up at this. I've never actually done it. It's not that I look down on or anything, but, it's like I want a little bit more bang for the buck on the work I'm doing. So they'll have jobs for people in the local area. Like, you have, these standees that are like on the top of gas pumps. Somebody has to go around and change those out, right? That's the kind of work you'll get. And some of them pay like $25 a pop, and you go to 3 different gas stations near you, and so that's $75 obviously to go. Really, just they send you this. I mean, I've read them. I've never taken one, but they send you the stuff to your house if you want. Well, that is pretty much what they do. I guess they always give you the choice if you can ask to be picked up at a FedEx office near you or UPS and go pick it up there. But I usually always figure just get it at my house. And then you would take these things around, replace things on the top of the gas pump. Real simple work, not IT work. But say you do 3 of them. I'm just using these figures off the top of my head, $25. That sounds about right, though, for that kind of job. And then, you make $75, and then afterwards, after the fees are taken out, I have service fees taken out, and I have insurance. Every time I do a job, I'm clicked into the program. They have a program where it's a 1.5% charge on the job that you give them for liability insurance. I think it's liability. But anyway, you can see that. General task. Point of sale, that's great work. That's just fixing registers, at you go into the McDonald's, the register. It may have to be changed out, or maybe it's offline or something. Self-checkout, I'm getting rid of that one too, because God almighty, that self-checkout work is a bitch. Man, I did a job for this guy. It was the only self-checkout job I ever did. You know what I mean when I say self-checkout? I'm talking about the self-checkout lanes like at Walmart or grocery stores, where you just do it yourself. And I had this job where I went out there, and I was like 10 minutes from the job site. It was real early in the morning. I think it was, or maybe it was late at night. It was when I really needed to make some money. This was years ago. And I'll never forget this guy. Someone calls my phone up. He goes, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Excuse me, who is this?" "I'm Joe." Who's Joe?" "I'm the guy waiting for you to get here." I said, "I'm not late." He goes, "I didn't say you were late, but you're here. Are you here close?" And he just had an attitude. And man, I just started working with this guy. He was on something. He just like responded. He'd go, "Where are my pliers? Where's my pliers?" And I go, "They're right next to you." I mean, that literally happened. They were within arm's reach of him. He was on something. He was on speed or something. I don't know what he was on. Let's see. So general tasks, you can put furniture. I guess that means you're going to, or electrical. I guess that means you're going to be doing something with other trades. If you have another trade, do that. Point of sale, advertising. So there you go, advertising. Maybe that, and merchandising. That would probably also be the type of thing to have you like swap it out. Oh, one thing that comes through very often are the for general merchandising are jobs to set up these standees that you see in movie theaters. The big cardboard cutouts of the movie Snow White or whatever it is. And those actually pay pretty good. So you go to a movie theater, they have this big box there of stuff. Again, I've read about some of these. I've also looked at some of the standees you would have to set up if you did it. And some of them are fairly complicated because you can see the blueprint. They're kind of showing you what you're going to have to do if you take the job. And I don't want to do that either. I don't do much. Or I'm kind of particular, but why not? Networking, server storage, wireless networking. Those jobs can go from very complicated to very easy. If they're easy, I'll take one. POTS, plain old telephone system. I think that's what that stands for. And then voice over IP. I don't do that kind of work. So anyway, you can see the kind of jobs I do. And I like and I took some of them out there. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. So you have routed. None here, and at the moment, that's where they just give you the job and you don't have to request it. But see on this one, if I wanted this job, someone's put in a request for this, 4 for this, 1 for this, 1 for this, so AV install. You go in here, you look at the job, you decide you want to do it, you go up here, you request it, and then you're in competition with other people that have requested it. Let's see what this new one is that came in. Customer published router switch cradle point upgrade. Those are often pretty easy jobs. Some of these jobs, when they talk about an AP upgrade or something, it can be literally, it's something you would do in your house. If you went to Best Buy and you bought a new router and you just or you got a Wi-Fi access point and you just swap it out. But you're in a store, so it's like a job, and you swap it out. Maybe you put a SIM card in or something, and you're done. Look at this again. 360. 360? Oh, but look at all that's going on here. Okay. Oh, I see. A lot of things are bridge calls. That's where you actually call in with other technicians, and you all are kind of, you're the tech, and then you have other technicians that are doing the remote work, instructing you. Sometimes they're engineers. These can be quite big projects, like nationwide with hotels or stuff. And, you have to then you talk to the bridge. This has turned out to be a long video, and I don't want to make it overly. I think you guys are getting the point, right? Here, let's go to my completed work, and that'll give you a good idea. Oh, now, so with this recent job, I didn't get paid, right? So I'm calling up the technicians and I'm saying, guys, you had me there 4 hours and so, the tech on the job said I would get paid for it. And they're like, oh yeah, you're going to get covered, but the manager's not here at the moment. Well, this went on and on. So I put in a complaint. I report it. Now see here, report problem type. Oh, this is different because this is before you take the job. So you're asking for clarification. Okay, let's go to the work. Let's go to my completed. Okay, so I have a pending job here. Well, here it is. This is the work now for. This is how they resolve the issue. Let's just get to the heart of it because I feel like I'm starting to bore people. I had the job. And I got paid 120, which was like 106 after service and insurance. So I'm unhappy because I worked a lot more than that. This got into it with Field Nation, got them involved. They're contacting the company. The company's not responding back. I've explained, these guys, the technician, and this was a big thing. The technician on the job site said you will be compensated now. I hated to do it to him, but since he had committed to me, and again, folks, what am I going to do? Quit? I mean, at an hour and a half, 2 hours, I say to him, hey, you know what? This was supposed to be an hour and a half, and I plan on going to a movie, and so I'm out of here. And the guy would go ballistic. He'd go, no, we got to finish the job. And, you stay, and then you must get paid. But I kind of understood, they had me over a barrel in a way because of this damn estimated thing. It used to be always like an hour and a half for a $1.20, $1.20, and then any additional hours, $30 an hour, up to 2 extra hours. So it's kind of like they were saying it may run late and we'll pay you a little more for each hour, which I never had a real problem with that. But that wasn't what was happening. So I went in. I'm getting ahead of myself. So here is the job. We'll go to completed. It'll stand out. Look at this. 120, start at 9 o'clock, paid. Yeah, paid. Paid even though I was there for 4 hours. So look at this. Let's look at this. So yeah, it started April 4th. It was a lot of work to do with this particular job. I had to do they needed some rubber stripping installed for the. You ever seen these kiosks where you can get your baby buggy out for a token? I think it costs $9 a pop, and I think it's unlimited for the day for the time you're in the mall, which is pretty nice. It costs you $9, and then you take the stroller thing out of the rack of strollers, and then you bring it back when you're done, and boom, you put it back in and you confirm that you brought it back. And it monitors all the strollers that are going and coming with scanners. Well, the day I was there, I was just supposed to lay down the rubber stripping for these strollers to be at a certain elevation so they were at the scanner level, because they have a scanner on the side of each of these buggies, these strollers that you push your kid in. That was essentially the job. And I'm thinking, well, and they send you the rubber stripping, they send it to a nearby FedEx office, so I just go pick it up, and I go lay down the rubber stripping. I've got the guy on the phone, I'm working with in remote support. Oh, well, wait a minute. Now the scanner's not working. Okay, the scanner's not working, so let's go over and get into the module. So I had to get in the module, and I had to do the scanner. And this is where these kind of jobs can get a little bit trying, because you're down on your hands and your knees, working in this very small modular box that's there with a scanner inside it that's recording the strollers coming in at the entrance to the kiosk, and then at the other entrance there's a scanner. So you have 2 module boxes, and so I had to work on the entrance module box for a while because the scanner wasn't working. And what else do we have? Then the software team had problems, so we had to halt for a while. And then you have to test the scanners. And what else was there? Oh, then I had to go to the kiosk where the people put their token in for the night, or I don't know how that works. I guess it's credit card now, and it records $9. But I also think they have a token you can get. But anyway, bottom line, it just took a long, long time. I had to work, on the scanner, and I had to do the rubber stripping, and then I had to go to the kiosk, and I had to go in there, and they wanted me to check something to do with the cash box, and you know what I mean? You get into these jobs where you're just doing all this kind of stuff that just needs to be done, and it's real hard to just say to people, you're only going to be here this long, and that's all you're getting paid for. So I started complaining to Field Nation. I think we can show it on this one since it's complete. Report problem. Problem type. There it is. So I went in and I said disputing amount owed. And I took it from there. And so they open up a case. Field Nation will then open up a case. I said the amount was not right because the technician, again, I think that was what swayed everybody, that the technician on site had guaranteed me I'd get paid. Obviously, it's his word against mine, but he was the kind of guy I could tell wouldn't do that. Yeah. So anyway, here you can see this problem resolved. Well, this was really weird and pissed me off too, because what happened was we got into these messages, and it started off, people are talking to me about, worked with Ryan and Sport, installed rubber strips in a rail, troubleshot the scanner and the entry, scanner now working, the LED black wire broke. Yeah, those wires are incredibly. Check the hopper and the cash box. That is uploaded all photos and videos. I had to do you have to do a lot of, in some jobs they expect a lot of verification. They want photos and all that kind of stuff. Released by Ryan and returned 1/8 strips to FedEx. So that sent back that stuff. I was assured by Ryan and Sport I'd be compensated for the almost 4 hours. Blah, blah, blah. This needs to be corrected, or I'll block work for me in the future. And you can block companies you don't like. I've never blocked a company. I've just not taken jobs from them, but I don't block them. I just think that's a little too final. I don't know why you feel like I do that. So I brought Brian into it. I didn't really want to. No response from the manager. So they set up a this is Field Nation saying they set it up. All the communication will be happening in the support case through the case channel. See, this got a little complicated. The way they do this, the manager, he comes back and says, we verified your time. You should be set to complete this work order for approval. We're okay to go. The package is returned. Time is verified. Do you have a complete button, Jack? Well, I don't know what he's talking about. I think he's talking about the job I had already done. Well, of course I hit the complete button because I thought I was going to get paid. I thought they were going to fix it. You have to hit the complete button for the job to even go forward to any kind of resolution. Otherwise, it just sits there. So, something to think about in the future, maybe. I suppose I could just tell the guy, well, I'm going to leave the ticket open and, check out, but leave the job uncompleted and just say I'm not going to complete the job until you show that the pay has been upped. I've never done that. So I just the guy said they'd fix it. He said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. So I just assumed when I completed the job that it would suddenly, I'd see they increase the pay. Well, it never happened. I say, why are you asking? What are you asking? They approved the original work order immediately. What do I have to complete? So then I complained again to Field Nation. I said, I don't even know if this guy is reading what is going on in my complaint here, because he's just like, well, you did the job and everything's fine. We got this stuff back we were supposed to get. And so what's the problem? I'm like, is this guy even reading this? I don't know. And then I said, look, I'm now getting a notification to open another support case. Yeah, they were asking me basically to start all over again because they said we're going to have to bump this up to this regulations committee or something. And I thought, screw it. I just figured it was over. I put down it was just over. And so I was not happy. And I just told myself, if this company ever puts in a request for me or routes me a ticket, since they had routed me the last one, which means the work I had done for them in the past, they appreciated it, or they wouldn't route it to me. They'd make me bid for it, like against other people. I say bid, it's a request, but I mean, if people want to undercut you, they could just tell them, I'll do it for $20 less an hour. And if they really need to work and you're sitting there, I'd also say, sometimes I'll ask for more, but that would be if I saw something. Oh, you can ask for travel. You can ask for travel and stuff. Anyway, long story short, out of the blue, a couple of days ago, I get this job. And it says, what do you know? Columbiana Center, that's where the job was. It's a nearby mall. It's a very nice mall. It's actually a pretty busy mall. The economy around here is doing pretty good. It's busy. The food court's busy. Some pretty cool stores. So I understood what they said. Extra time from work order, and that's the work order that I was disputing everything. Out of the blue. I didn't know it was going to happen. So it was... they estimated $146.30 for 2.5 hours. And that, in fact, was the amount I needed extra over the 1.5, right? So long story short, after all said and done, on top of the 6 that I got for the first job, take home. But you can see how this works. I mean, I have a work order. The job actually was for the extra hours got me $167.20. Look how much they take out for service charges, but whatever. Still able to take home another $146.30 for that particular job. So it all worked out. And the funny thing was, when I saw this, I didn't know. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I understand what's happening. But of course, I called. I called that morning that I saw it from the night before, the day before when they put it in. I had just not looked at the jobs for a day, and I just missed it. But I don't get the normal, I guess I got the contact information from the previous job. You're not going to get contact information for these people until the job is yours, because obviously they don't want everyone in the world calling them about questions about a job. The minute you get the job, you get contact information. So I was able to go back to the last time and looked up the contact information from that company, and I call, and instead of getting the normal, it was kind of unusual. Instead of getting the normal queue, line like, we're going to answer your phone in a minute, blah, blah, a technician will come on in a minute. This guy answers the phone. He goes, Jack here. And I go, is this Jack Young? And he goes, that's me. I go, Jack Young, the manager? And he kind of laughed. He's very good. He was in a great mood. He was like, yeah. I said, there's Eric calling. He immediately goes, yeah. So maybe he was waiting for me to call. I don't know. I don't know, folks. All I know is we had the best conversation. He appreciated my work. I said, I appreciate this kind of work, because even though it's hard work, it is hard work. It's real physically hard work, getting down on your knees and working on these things. And, like I said, I was having to get in these little boxes and shit. Gets on your nerves a little bit, but not enough to give a hoot. And so he was totally cool guy. He said, yeah, there's the extra money for the job. You did appreciate it. I almost wonder at this point if there was just not a massive communication problem. I almost wonder at this point if the message he gave about everything's cool, just hit the complete button. I almost see now it says mark incomplete, right? Because I've already marked it complete. And it's now in the queue for approval to be paid. I don't have any problem that that's going to happen. I'm sure that's going to happen. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, I almost think because it was funny when I called up, he said, let me look at that. And he said, can you give me a work order? So I had to give him the work order, this work order right here to even explain what I was talking about. He looks it up. He takes a second. I can tell he's not really that familiar with it, but he obviously was somehow involved with it. And he was like, yeah, that's to pay you the extra money. And I was like, well, totally cool. So I almost wonder if that previous message from him, he thought I had already received something like this. And he was just saying, just complete it. He doesn't realize I'm talking about the previous job because I've never seen this job, right? It just came in the last couple of days. Folks, these companies are not infallible. We're not infallible. And all I can tell you is if you're interested in doing this kind of work, and like I said, I've had 3 times I had issues with companies. Now let me show you something else that I think was really cool and shows you how things can just change on a dime. So let's go back to work. And let's go back to, and so that now is pending. That job, that fixed pay of $167 is now pending. Somebody at their company will approve it, and then it'll go into the bucket for payment. Payment is up here. The payment you're going to see here is for the job I just did. That job, it's going to transfer on tomorrow? No, Friday. It all is on Friday. So this is going to transfer on Friday for $403.90, and you can see how little I work. Yeah, I haven't done much work. Yeah, see, I don't work a lot. Not bad paychecks, but I don't work a lot. Oh, here are, well, no, I take that back. Here were 3, oh, I see, I'm not separating them out. Eric, silly boy. 2 work orders. Yeah, kiosk kid swap, kiosk kid swap. Sometimes you get jobs, I think these were 2 head swaps that need to be done at 2 different Walgreens, I think, or CVS, so it was 2 jobs I got. Did them close to each other, 1 work order, 1 work order. You can see how it adds up. And of course, if you're someone who wants to make a lot of money, and you're not, I'm not lazy, but I'm retired, and I have some other sources of income, so I'm not, it's not that big a deal to get paid, but I want to get paid, and so duh. And so, but what I'm trying to say is, if I needed more money, or if you're someone who wants to make a lot of money, you can do what that guy did. I think I talked about him, right, that I met, and he was just, man, he was making a living doing this kind of work, which it's kind of cool because you're your own boss. You're only requesting jobs you want to do. You're only requesting jobs within a certain area around you, or a huge area around you, depending, and you're kind of your own boss, and it's kind of cool. I like it. But what was my point? Oh, so that was payments. So that job is for this. Now, this was a super cool job, and it was almost surreal what happened. We just went through an incredible 3 days of rain. Okay? Now, this job comes through on 5/11, a few days ago. I see this job, and it says that some equipment needs to be transported to Bluffton, South Carolina, down near Hilton Head. And it says you're going to pick up equipment from one location and deliver it to another location, 50 cents a mile. That's pretty good. And I have an SUV. I have a Honda Hybrid. I love my Honda Hybrid. It's a 23, and it's a beautiful car. I love the hybrid. I get around 41 miles to the gallon. You may say, well, it's hybrid. I thought it'd be 60. No, it's not a, no, I mean, it enhances your power with the electricity, but you're still using gas. And quite frankly, my last car, an Altima, Nissan, I think I was getting like 25 a mile, and that's considered a fairly not gas guzzler. And I think on the highway I was getting like 25 a mile. I checked it. And so anyway, this job, though, it required me to go over to a place literally 8 miles away and pick up a bunch of boxes and put them in my SUV and transport them down to Bluffton. Now, here was the kicker. Bluffton is, oh, well, this was just the place I had to go pick up the equipment. But then the stuff that the job was to go to USC Beaufort Bluffton campus, Hargrave building. Yeah, so I had to drive down there, and the deal was the next day. So what I was doing was I was taking a job. I had to go pick up 8 boxes and 3 smaller boxes. Literally filled up my entire SUV, and then I mean, it was perfect. I thought I could have fit one in the front seat, but it was just perfect. They all fit in there. And I had to go down to Bluffton and be there by 7:30 the next morning. That meant I had to leave here to make sure I got there on time. And well, you can see right here. Here were my odometer readings. See this? So it was total mileage that I charged them for the trip from my condo down there and back was 308 miles. So I had to get it there by 7:30 though. So the time involved. And it rained. The rain was unbelievable. The rain was so bad that on my Honda, the sensing device on the front was periodically coming up and saying, please clean sensing device. And it showed me that it was this square right in the middle of my front grille under the hood. And it was because of the rain. That's how hard it was raining. You just couldn't see through the rain washing over that sensing device. So it kept saying, please clean sensing device on front of blah, blah, so you know, we can assist in your driving or whatever it's called. And I'm like, that's how bad the rain was. I had to drive through that shit in the dark. Started here at 4 o'clock in the morning to get down there at 7:30, make sure I was on time. Thank God I left at 4 and not waited till, I think it said the trip would take 2 hours and 20 minutes. I looked at that rain, I said, man, don't even think of trying to make it in 2 hours and a half. Give yourself an extra half an hour, even an hour. I don't know. I was really smart to do that because it did slow me down. It was almost to the point where, well, some people did pull off the road. Yeah, but I didn't. Only a couple. But I understand when they do that, especially if you're just not a very, you know, if you're a timid driver or whatever, and it's like you can't hardly, you know, window wipers can't keep up. That was a cool job. Let me tell you how cool this is, what they did. Okay? These guys, so the rate was 180 for 6 hours. It turned out to be 7 hours. Then pay, see this? Then pay additional hours of 30 with a 2-hour max. So they're essentially saying, we'll give you up to 8 hours. We'll cover you for 8 hours if you have to be. And of course, they're going to expect an explanation as to why it took you that long. Well, that was easy enough to do. That's how long it took. For me to drive down and back was about 7 hours. Plus it included the time that I drove over and got the equipment. So it added up to about 7 hours. So anyway, this is really cool. So the trip charge was $154 on top of $250. Is that right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. So no, it's $154. Now look what they put on here that I never was told about or asked about because I wasn't even aware of it. I knew I had to get the equipment there. And the lady who was dealing with me, she said, please. She said, the reason I had to put this job in is because the tech that was going to do it, this was Mother's Day. He said the tech that was going to do it is involved in his Mother's Day celebration, and so he had to cancel on the equipment pickup. And so if you would do it for us, we'd love it. She never mentioned this, but look at what they did here. Rush assignment bonus of another 100. So the trip, the 50 miles an hour, the 50 cents per mile, plus a trip bonus, plus this, and it added up to $403.90. Well, actually, it ended up 461.60 and 57.70 taken out at service charges plus my insurance. So that was a job where I traveled, went over and picked up some equipment 8 hours away, 8 mile. God, Eric, 8 miles away on Mother's Day. That was just boom, go over. They had a bunch of guys standing around waiting for their equipment. I was this tech filling in for this guy who didn't show up. So I was able to pick up the boxes, get them in, get them home. That was like virtually no work at all. And then the next day, of course, this long trip. So it added up to about 7 hours work for take home of $403.90. That's pretty cool. That's what, now that lady, this lady right here, very cool lady to do that. She did not tell me that it was such an emergency, but I saw from the state of the guy that was there waiting for me to deliver the equipment for this particular online college, and he was like, "Thank you." I was like, "No problem. That's what they're paying me for. I don't care." But yeah, for me to get there by 7:30, everyone understood. I was leaving very early in that rain. Man, I'll never forget that rain. It was a bitch driving back still, but at least I'd gotten the jobs done, so I felt pretty good and I was less stressed. You know, driving down, I'm going, Eric, you must make it. You must make it by 7:30. Oh, because what they were doing was they were setting up for a state testing program. So they had a few online colleges were down there setting up equipment, and I was representing the one that's here in Columbia, which I'm sure they have in various offices in the cities around the southeast, or maybe the whole country. I don't know. That worked out well. I think I've kind of given you an idea of what's going on with, they have recruitments. Now let's see what's in recruitments. Nothing. I dropped out of one. I completed a recruitment. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, I guess I'm in some sort of kiosks preventive maintenance. Oh, no. That's the one. Oh, that was a nightmare. I almost started working for this company where you go around, you clean the, it was good pay, but you go to stores and they have these machines that are cash machines and you have to clean them, and it's this real intricate process where you have to watch videos and get trained in it. You have to dismantle the equipment and clean it and all this stuff and make sure it works properly. I was like, screw it, man. I didn't. I think I dropped out of that same one. Oh, that was an EV charging station work opportunity. Interesting. Well, see what I mean, folks? If you're a guy and you go, they're probably going to train you. And, you may pick up a little niche work, working on EV charging stations. I may look back into that. I don't know why I dropped out of it. I don't know, folks. It's a cool company, Field Nation. Check it out. Like I said, this last thing worked out. I suspect this company just simply had a miscommunication, or maybe they just amended their ways and just made it like, hey, we got you covered. It's a beautiful day, and I'm like, okay, it's a beautiful day now. But I had to bitch and moan. And I'm not going to sit there and say to the guy, why didn't you do what you did, or did you, why did you change it, or, you only changed it because you felt you had to. Here's my final words on this. Field Nation is in a somewhat between a rock and a hard place, right? Their app requires business, or depends on businesses looking for technicians to do work. Okay? If it was just technicians logging on saying, I'm looking for work, there wouldn't be an app, because that app only exists because companies use it to look for service technicians to go out and work for them. So it's there. So when someone like me comes along and has a complaint about a company, they're obviously in a position where they have to work with both sides. And they don't want to, I'm sure they do not want to piss off a company too bad. I can't honestly, I don't understand how the sausage was made in this particular one, because it was such a strange gap between the complaint and then suddenly just getting an extra ticket, that the guy just said, the manager, he said, just fill it out like you normally would. When it asks for, names of texts and stuff, just put non-applicable, non-applicable, non-applicable. It was kind of funny. There was a video that I had to do on the original job. You have to dot all the boxes. You have to check all the boxes for the work order to be completed. And so it had one for the video. It was originally I'd had to do a walk-around video of the kiosk to show that everything was completed and set up properly. But on this one, it didn't have that, so I had to fill in one. So I put in if you guys watched it, I have a video I just did. I'm going to start doing videos of my backyard and my front yard, because there's so much wildlife around here, and sometimes you see some pretty cool stuff. So I had just done one of deer in my backyard, and they're all standing up eating out of the bird feeder and stuff. So when it came to the point where I had to put in a video for walking around the stroller area, the kiosk and all the strollers and the modules and all that stuff, and show them working, I just put, since I didn't have that anymore, I deleted it back when I did it. I just put in one for the deer in the backyard. So if anyone actually bothered looking, which I'm sure they wouldn't, because it was kind of like it's kind of like dummy work order, right? It's just fill it out and turn it in so you get the extra pay. All right, that's all I got for Field Nation. You'll download the app and you'll understand. Let's see what else is going on here. All right. That's all I'm going to talk about today, folks. However, I do want to say this about TTI. There's treasure in there. This book by John Collins Black is fantastic. I mean, this book, and I'm going to do a video on it. This book is so freaking well done. And they have a, well, I'll tell you what I'll tell you in the next one. They have something here. Let me see if I can find it. I'll try to do this fairly soon, sooner than 2 weeks. They have he has something in the back that I think is very interesting. It was very timely. In my last video, I was talking about this treasure hunt. The Justin Posey treasure hunt, as I said in another video, I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's the Rockies, west of the Rockies, and may include Alaska. That's my understanding. Now, I'm going to look up some Justin Posey stuff and see if that's indeed what's going on still. But it pretty much excludes the eastern part of the United States. As far as a place, I mean, the treasure's not in the eastern part of the United States. So it's out west, or it's even in Alaska. And I've said, I'm not traveling out that far. That's just too far. So I'm not even really interested unless Justin does what Forrest Fenn did, which was realize after the original treasure hunt didn't really have many parameters as to where it was outside of north of Santa Fe, that Fenn realized he had people all over the place. They were in all these different places, and so he finally narrowed it down to just the 4 states. But if he hadn't done that, I mean, I don't even know where to start. And when you look at Justin Posey's map, where he shows the Rockies and all of western United States and Alaska, it's intimidating. And it's unless he put out some clues that were really, I felt I could figure out where in the West it was, I wouldn't even bother, which I'm really not. But I'm going to keep my eyes open because he's a smart guy. And I think his hunt is fantastic. I'm not knocking his hunt at all. I'm just saying, for me, practically speaking, for me, I'm going to stick to somewhere in the east. And there's treasure inside treasure hunt. It says there's 5 regions. and you have to figure out what region you're in. You know, you have to figure out from the different things. Here's what he has, though. He has a page where he has word search, and you go through there and you look for words, and then at the very bottom he has a cryptogram. See the cryptogram at the bottom? Can you see it? It's gold. Well, I figured that cryptogram out. So I'll put that in the next video that I'll come out with. The word search, I just came up with a bunch of words like you would too, and a lot of them kind of make sense, and they also kind of fit the cryptogram a little bit. Again, treasure hunting. Treasure hunting is a trip. But what I really love about this book is, I said in one of my last videos how much I love puzzles. But this book, there's treasure inside. I'm telling you, folks, this is good reading, even if you're not looking for a treasure. I'll talk about it next time more. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope for people that are looking for work, they realize that this app will help them incredibly. And like I said, you saw it. Now, there's another thing. I think there's another place called, let me do this real quick. I think it's called, because I know some of you are probably out there going, well, I'm not a tech guy, I'm not an IT guy, whatever. I think there's another app. I tried it a long time ago, but I just gravitated towards Field Nation because it seemed to be, yeah. It seemed to be more my kind of jobs. Yeah, but there's a place here called Work Market. Work Market is a New York City base that provides an online platform and marketplace for managed freelancers, contractors, and consultants. Oh, see, I haven't seen this in a long time. All-in system, you're independent contractors. I'm an independent contractor. You'd be an independent contractor. So you might want to go to Work Market too. I just don't use it anymore, so I'm not going to discuss it. Okay, they have an IT field services marketplace. I guess IT is off the net, but you can see all this field sales. Oh, wait. Learn our plan. What type of contractor do you use? Okay, well, you can figure it out. So that's another word, Work Market, if you're interested. All right, folks, that's it for me. I'll try to get this render, put it together and render it and get it out in the next day or two. And I hope everyone has a good day. Goodbye.